how to improve working capital management. As I'm aware that all of you are on the boards of multiple entities, and these multiple entities will be belonging to different domain. Some of them may be manufacturing, some of them may be in service industry, some of them may be in the IT industry, and so on and so forth. uh, unless you are into an industry where your profit margins are extremely high, you may not really need any working capital finance per se from outside, because the cash that you are generating from within is good enough for taking care of your working capital requirements. Nonetheless, doesn't really matter. We still need to understand as to how to achieve efficient working capital management. And as I said in the beginning of this session, working capital management is less a matter of knowledge, is more a matter of attitude, is more a matter of culture. So it is not that when it comes to the working capital management, it is only the CEO is responsible, or CFO is responsible, or the board of directors is responsible, or the finance manager is responsible. In my understanding and in my view, when it comes to working capital management, everybody in the organization is responsible. And as a matter of fact, all of us as independent director, as the nominee director, we can massively contribute with our guidance, mentoring, suggestions, supervision, discussion, interaction with the board of directors of the entity, and also the senior management of the company, in improving the working capital management of those entities. And what I'm going to do, friends, with you this now, I'm just going to do a small case study, which is very small case study, but I'm sure this case study will clarify the importance of efficient working capital management for any business. I need not highlight, as the financial institution assisting different entities for capex and also for the working capital, it is in our interest that the entities whom we finance, they do their working capital management in the most effective manner. In my experience, the entities whom I advise and guide, I have seen companies suffer bad working capital management primarily because they are not aware as to what is working capital management, and how to do it and what they should do it. Small case study, we will do it together, and I would like all of you to get involved in this case study, and I'm sure this will unravel a lot of mysteries to every one of us as regards the working capital management. So this case study is of a well managed company, right? Well managed company. And this case study is very simple, but just to give the background, we all understand very easily. I mean, it's on the tip of the uh, tongue of every one of us. सोते सोते अगर हमसे पूछें कि करंट रेशो क्या है, तो हम बड़ी आसानी से बता पाएंगे कि करंट रेशो क्या है और करंट रेशो कैसे कैलकुलेट करते हैं. So what is the current ratio and how do we calculate? We calculate current ratio by taking the current assets of the entity and dividing it by the current liabilities. So that is how we will calculate the current ratio. Now, today, before starting this session, I was ready around 10 o'clock. तो मैं 10 बजे तैयार हो गया ये सेशन को डिलीवर करने के लिए, और मैं 10:30 बजने का इंतज़ार कर रहा था. तो मेरे पास आधा घंटे का समय था, तो मैं ऐसे ही डाइनिंग टेबल पे बैठा, और जब मैं डाइनिंग टेबल पे बैठा तो मेरे सामने एक कंपनी की एनुअल रिपोर्ट पड़ी थी. तो टाइम पास करना है, तो मैंने वो एनुअल रिपोर्ट के पन्नों को पलट के देखना शुरू किया. तो मैं जब उनको देखना शुरू किया तो एक जगह मेरी निगाह गई और मैंने देखा कि ये जो कंपनी है जिसका कि मैं स्टडी कर रहा हूँ, जिसकी एनुअल रिपोर्ट में देख रहा हूँ, उस कंपनी का जो करंट रेशो है वो 31 मार्च 22 को इट वाज 1.85। तो ये नंबर देखा 1.85, तो समथिंग रैंग इन माय माइंड। तो मैंने और पन्ने पलटे, और जब मैंने और पन्ने पलटे तो मैंने देखा कि 31 मार्च को इस कंपनी का करंट रेशियो जो कि 1.85 था वो घट के 1.60 रह गया। तो आई वॉज लिटिल एस्टोनिश्ड, एंड तो मेरी क्यूरियोसिटी और बढ़ी। तो मैंने और थोड़े से पन्ने पलटे, और थोड़े से पन्ने पलटने के बाद मैंने देखा कि 31 मार्च 24 को इस कंपनी का करंट रेशियो घट के 1.20 रह गया। 1.85 से करंट रेशियो घट के 1.20 रह गया। तो मुझे और थोड़ा अजीब लगा, तो मैंने थोड़ा सा और स्टडी किया, और मेरे पास टाइम भी था, तभी भी 10:30 बजने में टाइम था। तो मैंने और उसको थोड़ा स्टडी किया, तो मैंने देखा कि ये कंपनी प्रॉफिट कर रही है, दिस कंपनी इज मेकिंग प्रॉफिट। एंड मैंने ये भी देखा कि ये कंपनी प्रॉफिट भी कर रही है और सब लोगों को टाइम से पे कर रही है। दिस कंपनी इज पेइंग एवरी वन ऑन टाइम। सप्लायर्स को टाइम से पे करती है, एम्प्लॉयज़ को टाइम से पे करती है, गवर्नमेंट को टैक्सेस टाइम से पे करती है, लेंडर्स को इंटरेस्ट टाइम से पे करती है, लोन रिपेमेंट भी टाइम से होता है। सो जितने भी कंपनी के ऑब्लिगेशंस थे वो सारे के सारे कंपनी वाज पेइंग एब्सोल्युटली ऑन टाइम। तो फिर मुझे लगा ये कंपनी का करंट रेशियो 1.85 से घट के 1.60 रह गया, फिर 1.20 रह गया। तो ये मुझे कुछ समझ में नहीं आया और मैं सोचने लगा कि क्यों ऐसा हुआ होगा। इतने में 10:30 बज गए और मैं आपके साथ में कनेक्ट हो गया। लेकिन इस दरम्यान मुझे एक ख्याल आया कि मैं आप लोगों से पूछूंगा कि आपको क्या लगता है कि ये गुड साइन है कि बैड साइन है, ऑल ऑफ यू। So you can write your responses in the chat box and Geeta ji will read out for the benefit of every one of us. So company's current ratio, अब ये आप मान के चलिए कि आपकी ही कंपनी है, आप अज्यूम करिए कि आपकी ही कंपनी है जिसके बोर्ड पर आप नॉमिनी डायरेक्टर हैं, और उस कंपनी का जो करंट रेशियो है वो स्लाइड हो गया है 1.85 से 1.20 पर। तो आपके हिसाब से ये अच्छा साइन है कि बुरा साइन है? And you have a time of 1 minute and 10 seconds. Your time starts now. Please write your responses in the chat box, good sign or bad sign. So you can just write good sign or bad sign as you would feel, and Geeta ji will read it out for the benefit of every one of us. Good sign or bad sign? All right, Geeta ji, can you please read from the chat box?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes. So, Mr. Srivastav says not necessary.
Uh,
Mr. George says depends on the nature of the industry.
Okay. So let me.
Mr. Naresh Babuta says good sign, optimum utilization of current or course depending upon the CA and CL, current assets and current liabilities, whether on higher side or lower side over a period of time.
Only 3 responses?
Yeah.
Okay. So
yes.
Okay.
So far. Oh, sorry, sir. There is more. There are more.
Okay.
Improved current asset management. We may check working capital limits utilization.
Okay. I can just interrupt
and there's one more. Do you want me to say that, or
no.
like to...
I just like to just my request to everyone is don't give a subjective answer. Give a clear cut answer. So either say good sign or say bad sign. And let me tell you, there is in this case study that we are discussing, there is no if, there is no but. Either it is good sign or it is bad sign. There is nothing depends, or so I can understand, because if we were to be face to face, I would love to have those kind of answers also. But today we want answers from you. Either it is a good sign or it is a bad sign. But you have to give an answer. You cannot skip the answer. मतलब आप ये मत करिए कि नहीं नहीं मैं मुझे गुड साइन भी नहीं लग रहा है, बैड साइन भी नहीं लग रहा है, तो मैं आंसर नहीं दे रहा हूँ. ऐसा मत करिए. Just give an answer whatever it is actually. So I am giving you 30 seconds more now, or maybe 20 seconds more. So you just say good sign or bad sign. तो आप chat box में लिखिए good sign, bad sign, as the case may be. Okay, right. Thank you, Geeta ji. So
All right. So
yeah.
there's responses that it is good sign from about 8 people. I'm not necessarily going into the names.
Sure, of course.
Yeah, there's 8 responses saying it's a good sign.
And the everyone else. So we are 25 of us. So what about the remaining 17? So should I assume that they think it's a bad sign? Or are they still responding in the chat box? So 5 seconds more for the remaining participants.
Okay, there are 2 more responses, sir. Good sign.
Good sign. Okay, very good. I think I must compliment everyone who has responded saying that it is a good sign, and without any doubt it is a good sign. Unlike in the past, where people would think that high current ratio is a good sign. Not at all. Not at all. As a matter of fact, high current ratio is a bad sign. And why high current ratio is a bad sign? Because if my current ratio is very high, it means what? What am I doing? I am blocking my capital in my inventories. I am blocking my capital in my receivables, and I am blocking my capital in my other current assets. So when I'm blocking my capital, and remember this blocking of the capital is not helping me in any way. On the contrary, when I have very high level of inventory, I am incurring inventory carrying cost. I am incurring the cost of obsolescence. When my receivables are very high, it is a bad sign because I am not only losing or blocking my capital, but I am also running a very high risk of bad debts, and I am also incurring very high cost of administration in realizing the receivables from the customers. So that of course is a bad sign. So right, I want to ask a question to everyone, and maybe all of them can answer again in the form of a good sign or bad sign. So the bank balance of a company is high. It what is good? It is good to have a high bank balance, or it is good to have low bank balance? Again 10 seconds to everyone. Okay, yes, Geeta ji.
The answer is low, sir, from everyone who has responded.
Excellent. So the Geeta ji, the feeling and the impression that I get with all the people who have responded, it is a good sign. I am sure all the entities which are guided by all of them are definitely having the benefit and the advantage of very efficient working capital management. So when it comes to the working capital management, low current ratio is a good sign. But remember, only low current ratio is not a good sign. A company which is making profit and having low current ratio is a good sign, because a company which is incurring losses, that company by default will have a low current ratio. And why that company by default will have a low current ratio? Because company is incurring losses. There is no money, so they cannot buy the inventory. So they cannot buy the inventory, inventories are less. They have no inventories, they are not producing. They are not producing, they are not selling. They are not selling, so they have less receivables. So their inventories are less, their receivables are also less. And on the contrary, since they do not have money, they are not paying to their suppliers. They are not paying to their suppliers, their creditors are going. So their current liabilities are going, their receivables are decreasing, inventories are decreasing, they have a low current ratio, but they're incurring losses. So unka low current ratio of a loss making company is definitely a bad sign, and a low current ratio for a profit making company is definitely a very good sign, and it's an indicator of very efficient operational management by that unit, by that company. Right. So with this, let's move to the next topic.